Ladies and gents, good evening. I've just had to kick Mahoney out and tell him to piss off. He was being really mischievous with the buttons again, as per usual. So I'm going to leave him in our little prison cell, our holding off little. Please do let me know if you can hear me on YouTube. Please do let me know if you can hear us on. Oh, I can hear myself. What's going on? David, can you hear that? That's so weird. David, can you hear that?
On here.
That's so weird.
I can't figure out what that is. I don't like it, whatever it is anyway. Is that better now? Can you... Can everybody hear me? Please, can you give me a thumbs up or give me a little love heart or
whatever? Has the echo now gone, Denise? I know you've commented on it. Has it gone now? I know that was really weird. I was like, I don't need to be hearing myself as well as talking. Is that better now? Yeah. Okay, good. Anyway, welcome. That was a little bit of an interesting tangent, wasn't it? So I believe we are going live on Facebook. However, it will be the last time we go live on Facebook because Facebook is being a real pain in the backside. And every time I set it up, I have to create an event or I have to do all this weird stuff, and I'm just not prepared to do it. So from next week, whatever date that ends up being, Halloween, David and I are going to do that on Halloween. Oh, how exciting. So next Monday on Halloween, when we do our video, it will only be on YouTube. So if you aren't following me on YouTube, hop over there, Lucy Davis Intuitive Transformation, and you will get to see the other beautiful videos I put out. And Facebook are basically on the naughty step. I can't be bothered with the bureaucracy, can't be bothered to, do all of those weird and wonderful things that they expect me to do. So I'm just not doing it anymore. I'm having a little hissy fit over here. I can see David's etching to get in here. Let me in, let me speak. Ladies and gents, we are going to be speaking about pictures and activations this evening because my beautiful sidekick and I went on an adventure last weekend, and we're just about to embark on another adventure. So let's bring him in. Let's bring him in. All right.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Don't you misbehave tonight, Mahoney.
Here we go again.
Here's the drain.
I'm struggling with the sound, Lucy. You went loud and then you went soft again. I don't know. I'm going to have to go like this. I'm going to have to get an ear trumpet here, and I've got everything up as normally as I can, but I can hear you, but it's just a bit softer. But when you fiddled around with that echo, it got louder. Anybody else? Is everybody else all right? Is it? Yeah.
Well, shall I
do that?
Now it's gone.
Can you hear me?
But I hear you better, but now you're getting feedback. Where's your normal headphones that you use? Those ones are rubbish.
No, this is the normal ones that I use, you cheeky monkey. I told you that beforehand. It's exactly... Everybody else says they can hear it. It's your bloody hearing,
Mahoney.
All right, we'll go for it then.
It's your age, mate. It's your age. I'll give you some exercise. This weekend when we're together, I'll give you some exercises for your ears. Ladies and gents, he can't hear.
I think it means you sitting next to me in a car for hours on end screaming at me. Is that the exercise you're thinking of?
David Mahoney, have I ever screamed at you?
No. Not with words, but I can see the look on your face. I mean, it's enough.
Don't you project on me, young man. You know that this is trauma. Boom. Anyway, my lovely.
Ear trauma.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Anyway,
how's it going, Lucy? You've had a busy week. We've had a few messages back and forth, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. But not as many as normal, because normally I have a little bit more capacity than I've had in the last week. It's been so busy, but in such a good way. Wednesday, the book is being taken off my hands and being given to them to put it into the actual book format, and that's it. So I'm free from the book from Wednesday. Everything's just so busy right now, and I'm loving it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it so much. How about you, my friend?
I'm still, yeah, I've been good. It's been
You were
another week. I did
distracted then.
I did a strange one this
Focus.
weekend, Luce. What?
I said you were distracted then. Focus.
I
My
was.
time now.
While you're talking, I'm gonna play with my sound settings because I'm struggling. But I think even if I adjust my laptop, it's not making any difference. So when you're talking, I'll have a little play. But for this time second, I tell you what I did, Lucy. I never had a chance to tell you. I did tell you I was in Seville for the weekend, and I rented a small apartment in a very small town about half an hour outside of Seville, because that's that town I told you where the woman told me she saw a huge mothership above a famous monastery. Did I tell
Amazing.
you that story?
Yes, you did.
So
But,
I was
but
there for
you
the
probably haven't
weekend.
told everybody else.
No, it was about 2 years ago. A Spanish girl said, "Can I ask you a question, David? Do you believe in UFOs?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Well, I work in a old hotel, and I came out last winter, and when I was going home, I looked up in the sky, and the entire hotel was in the shade, more or less. That's how big the ship was, of a huge ship just hovering silently
Amazing.
overwood, not very above the rooftops." So she was completely convincing. So I started doing some research about it, and it turns out it was one of the locations where they translated a sacred book straight from Aramaic, but they went straight into Spanish and not as the usual, as the Pope dictates, the Vatican, into Latin first. So the monks that did it got into trouble, and they were banished from that monastery and were moved down right next to the place where we were in Italica. Remember I pointed out a big monastery that was abandoned?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that ties into that. So I was going around. Of course, I didn't see anything, unfortunately, but I was talking to a lot of the locals, and one guy acted really weird when it was a bar, and he was standing at the end of the bar, and I asked him about it, and he put his drink down with a bit of a bang on the wooden top and just took off, just left, and I kind of went like
Ooh.
that, and I was finishing talking to the other two who were quite young. They were saying, "No, have you talked to any of the old guys?" So I made some inquiries within the village. Nobody seemed to know anything about it, apart from that guy who took off when I mentioned it. He didn't take
Wow.
off running, but he literally, his glass still had beer in it. He put it down, unless he had a sudden urge to go to the bathroom, but he didn't come back for 45 minutes while I finished the food.
Wow. How
So,
interesting.
yeah. Other than that, the hotel itself is beautiful. It's right on top of a mountain. I was renting a place next to two church towers all night long, every hour. Whatever time it was, I got two churches bonging at me, and then every half an hour, just to
Yeah, you
remind me,
sent
just
me
don't go to sleep.
you sent me, you were like, Lucy, can you hear that? That is what I have every 30 minutes. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
not happy.
it's true. It was every 30 minutes. So that's what I've been doing, Lucy. I didn't get any clear evidence, but it was certainly the atmosphere is there. It does feel very special, but it's not like a ghosty feeling, like an arm raising, but it's kind of like a certain silence. There's a lot of silence there. Like I noticed the birds weren't flying around up at that part of the town. Whereas
Oh, how
apparently where
interesting.
I'd parked my car, there seems to be an entire African congregation of birds right above it.
Shitting on your car, yeah?
There's
Brilliant.
€7. It's 75 minutes in the power wash today. So yeah, there was no birds flying around there, which I thought was quite eerie. That's the only thing I noticed in there. That
Fascinating.
guy's actions. So the investigation continues.
That's really fascinating, though, David. And actually, it's a nice segue into what happened in Ireland last weekend, right? Because we had a really, really, really beautiful experience. Obviously, not this weekend just gone, but the previous weekend. We were back in Ireland, weren't we, my friend?
Yeah. And it was a very wet island indeed, this one. It was like, how
Not like
much
the one
weather
in
did we go through?
July. July was so beautiful when we were there, wasn't it? Like we were in, I had on like little t-shirts and stuff like that. This time we were just, oh my gosh, we had wellies on, coats on, hats on, umbrellas on, you name it. We had it all going on, didn't we? But
Yeah.
the weather didn't stop us, David, did it?
No, in fact, I think it was nice in a way too, because the route that we took for the audience is called the Ring of Kerry. So we started in Dublin, we moved down to Tralee, where we went to our first location, and we moved south. We moved west and then south and then north. But that particular route is very famous for experiencing multiple forms of weather in the same day. I've seen it: snow, frost, sun, gale, rain, you name it. It has it on those mountain passes that we were going through. So but what a stunning part of the world. It's been a few years since I've done it, but absolutely stunning, isn't it?
Oh, it was absolutely incredible. And it's funny that you say that about the weather, because on that first day that we were there, not the phoning, where we just kept getting all of the signs, didn't we? Like literally from the minute I got you at the airport, it was like 222, 222, 222. It was just absolutely crazy, wasn't it? But that first day, the actual Saturday, where you and I were obviously doing the first bit of work, we actually experienced, it was torrential rain, wasn't it? It was the sideways rain. It had really, really heavy black clouds. But then also what was happening was we had, like after I'd finished doing the work, we had glorious sunshine, didn't we? I can hear myself coming back at me, by the way. Whatever you've done, I can hear me.
I haven't done anything. Well, actually, I could try something on my side. Cancelling there. That might be better. I'm still struggling. Weird. I'm missing something on this tonight, but I can hear you, Lucy. So we'll crack on. Are you going to tell them where we went to first, then?
I'll let you do that. you were the navigator.
Because I've forgotten. I was hoping you'd remember. No,
we haven't forgotten.
we went back to Scota's grave because it's a very significant place for me. When I was there in March, I took back half a bottle of pinkish red sand from the Sahara that I'd had in my house when I was in Egypt, and I've had it here for 3 years previously, just waiting for something significant to come up with it. And I asked Huna a couple of times, do you want to use this? Because some of these sacred sands in his language are called kotahara. And that's what we talk about. Do you have any kotahara? Where's the kotahara? Who's got the kotahara? Can we have the kotahara? Bring in the kotahara. So you need it for the ceremonies that Huna does. And he said, no, Mahoney, that's yours. You hang on to it. So when I went back in March, I was with another Huna, a local, very, very powerful spiritual worker, a light worker, absolutely. And then I was with Nick Sylvester, who's definitely on the same path as us, an American guy. And we did a ceremony, Lucy, we've talked about it, where I acknowledged Scota, and I brought her something back from Egypt, which is where she comes from. This is the princess that was buried in Ireland, and her final resting place is marked by an official government Irish grave. The Irish government put a stone marking and signposts up there. It was approximately 1,350 BC. And because of all of her connections, Scotland was named after Scota, which was this Egyptian princess who they united all of the tribes together, apparently. Nova Scotia was descendants of Scota that settled in that part of North America. So after this significant event, when we laid down the red Kotahara sand, the entire coast of southern Spain, all the way up to Belgrade and the coast of England, got hit with a sandstorm of the same sand that I placed on her grave. And it happened the next day. It started blowing up. Within 2 days, in 3 days, it had reached southern England. I'd already returned back to Spain. When I got back, the skies were orangey pink for 4 days. And nobody in living memory has ever seen this. Now, we do get occasionally these sandstorms on the right conditions, but nothing to the extent that happened that particular week, Lucy. So, in my opinion, I think this is confirmation of how important the work is what we do with these energy fields. So I wanted Lucy to come back. I asked for Lucy, saying, please, in between all the other stuff you do in the books and the shows and the soul schools,
and the clients and the self-love mastery and the self-love club. And yeah, Lucy, you've got plenty of time to squeeze in, David.
Get on that flight and let's go and see what we picked up there. Now, we got back there, and what's interesting, it's quite a hike in. It's through some pretty rough country. When I went there in March, it was dry. I knew it was going to be even worse. It wasn't dry, rather. I knew it was going to be worse now. So I said, we got to go and get some rainproof Wellington boots or the like, which was quite an ordeal. And what's the name of that shop? TJ Maxx? PJ Maxx?
TK Maxx.
I've never been in there before.
Mate, don't go shopping with Mahoney.
Oh, look at this.
Bright, shiny objects everywhere, Lucy. I need it all.
That's not fair. Clothes and shoes, maybe. So after we hiked in there, I was taking Lucy on strategic points. We had to do the honoring of the fairies. We found a lot of fairy areas as well. In fact,
beautiful.
look, I've still got one of the bags of sweets.
Oh,
And
so cute.
when we got to the final spot, I said, now, Lucy, I'd like to film here before we actually go to the main burial area. These steps are quite significant because, and as I turned around, setting up the camera, she'd gone. She just, you made a beeline straight away. You'd no idea where it was from there. And actually, it's hard to find because it's hidden by a bush and another bridge.
Oh, it was like that. Come to mama,
Yeah.
you're coming to me. It was honestly, I was just being completely guided, pulled by my heart into this space, which we obviously know why now, but you know, it was so beautiful. And David was like, excuse me, and but I was just gone, wasn't I? I had to go, and I was sussing out distances of things, and I was touching things, and it was just absolutely incredible. But the work we did there was bloody powerful. You know, I knew things that you had never told me, if you remember correctly, about the horse and stuff. Like you told me half a story, like, because I always say to you, don't tell me too much because I want to figure it out for myself. I like to be tested, ladies and gents. I like to be tested intuitively to make sure that I'm picking up, you know, what I need to be picking up. And David kind of gave me half a story. But as soon as I got there, I was really picking up on this horse energy. And he's like, how did you know that?
She was thrown from a horse on that spot, apparently pregnant. She was with child when the horse fell into a bit of a ditch and she was thrown off the front of it. So yeah, you bang on with that story. And that's actually quite hard to get that information, because if you look on any of the Wikipedia or anything like that, it's not on there. You've got to really go deep into local folklore and legend to get that. And I had to, Elena Denan gave me a couple of books, and that's when I found out about the horse story.
Wow.
When I was there in March.
Wow. It's interesting because, you know, I don't research anything. I'm bloody lazy. Like on a three-dimensional level, I'm really lazy. I just allow all the information to flow. And sometimes I come out with little tidbits like this, and David's like, how on earth do you know that? And it's literally just this beautiful connection. But what I loved about it, David, is obviously I completely distracted where you wanted to start, but we obviously went where we needed to go. And we did this really beautiful little exercise, didn't we, where we cleared the space and we you know, really activated some of the light energy in there. And I said to David, bearing in mind it was pissing down with rain, wasn't it? Like really pissing down with rain. It was black skies.
It was, but set the story correctly, because this was quite amazing for me. It really, as we got into the heart of the ceremony, when we really got into the heart of things, the height of it, the clouds went black. And she looked up at the sky and she says, they really don't want us to do that. And it started really raining. And then she started giggling. I said, what's so funny? And you said, when we finish this, we'll know when we finish, because the sun is going to come out in a bright blue sky will show. And sure enough, it did. You were...
But even before I'd finished doing what we were doing, it took about 3 minutes, didn't it? It was just absolutely unbelievable, because it had been raining all the way there. It had been so muddy, and I mean, you've probably seen some of the little videos that I've put out on my Instagram channels and stuff like that. You know, I was walking through water. It was wet. It was raining. It was, you know, it wasn't nice at all. But as we were building up to do this activation work that I had basically been shown, it was black, wasn't it? And then the rain come in, and it was that sideways rain, you know, the rain that just gets you absolutely drenched because it's coming from all angles. It was absolutely hilarious. And then literally about 3 minutes, hadn't even finished doing what we were doing, and I was giggling because the sun was so bright. It was such a contrast, and it was the validation that we needed. And we were able to get out of there in record time, weren't we? It was weird.
Well, the way back, I think you kind of float back because you're absorbing it. It happened to me before there as well. That darkness, the weather, Lucy, I was literally going to say, I'm going to call this because of the camera equipment. and let's get out of this because, and it's one of those on a set or a film set, it was that bad, they wouldn't film in it. The weather, the umbrellas were turning it inside out. I mean, but then it just turned like this.
But they're not
But
you,
yeah.
are they? That's the thing, David. You know, you're dedicated to the call with this. So, you know, where other people would say we're not doing it, you were like, come on, we can hold the, you know, we can keep going for an
We
extra
hold the
minute.
space.
Yeah, and look at what happened. It was absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, and I always go back because when you're in the middle, it's the old story. If you're in the middle looking around, you don't see it. So if you take yourself out and review what happened later, you're like, holy shit, did that really happen? And then we had great weather all the way back filming. We found some more ferry areas. And before we knew it, we were back at the main entrance gate at the car. And we were both like, holy cow, it took like, it's like we were teleported there.
Yeah, it was like literally blinking, you would have missed it. We were back there very, very quickly, weren't we? It was nice.
Yeah. Then we went to, where did we go to next? We got out of there. We went down through Killarney. We headed towards where we were going to go, but we couldn't go there.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I don't know if you want to talk about that or not. No,
I don't think we need to.
No. All right. So one of the plans was skipped. So we said, okay, let's see where else we go. So we headed down towards the west to a town called Glandore, and there's two stone circles, Glandore and Kinmare. And we stayed. Where did we stay the first night? We stayed in Kinmare, didn't we?
Yeah, Kinmare was So Kinmare was the first the first stop.
So we got there by nightfall after some spectacular scenery. We stopped and saw some other bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And
the weather was very heavy again, wasn't it? About 20 minutes after we finished, 30 minutes after we finished, the weather got back really, really heavy again. It was a very has anybody seen your little video yet? Have we put that out anywhere? We put it in the Divine Activation group. The windscreen wipers, just constant. That's all we did the whole time. It was windscreen wipers, and I was driving like but yeah, so the weather picked up about 20 minutes after we left, and we drove quite some way, didn't we? Because there was a couple of places we wanted to go, but we couldn't go. We got blocked with a couple of things, and then we ended up in this Kinmare. Oh, it was lovely there, wasn't it?
Yeah, we found a hotel, got there. Staff were very nice, I have to say. There was a classic car rally going on, so the entire car park was about 75 classic vehicles ranging from the 60s to the 90s. Which and we decided to get up early in the morning in case we got stuck behind a lot of these old fellas and with the cars breaking down on these small little country roads. But then we discovered, Lucy said to me, yeah, there's another stone circle around the corner. Which
is that my accent? That's really shit.
So we found, you see, the thing is, folks, I grew up in this area and I've been through those roads probably 100 times as a kid on various tour groups and things like that. And of all the mystical places I had seen as a child in Ireland, I had never seen any of these stone circles. I only recently learned of their existence, and this is within the last 2 years. So the Kinmare one, I was like, are you joking? Right here. So we asked the woman in the reception, she said, do you want to walk or do you want to drive? And she said, we said, we drive. She says, well, all right. So then she gave us all these crazy directions. Like, if you go down to Murphy's funeral parlor and then you hang a left and then you go straight down to O'Reilly's car park, and we're like, all right, we're just going to put the Google Maps on that one.
Just put it in GPS. It's fine. Phone works.
So we got there, and then that was
beautiful.
You discovered a beauty there, didn't you? Yeah.
Oh, it was beautiful. Now, just taking a quick step back, I went to bed that night, and I was, I felt really good and all the rest of it. But I had a really powerful night, didn't I? And I woke up early, and I was messaging you all this stuff that had been coming through me, and I was like, we've got to go to this stone circle. We've got to do this. We've got to do that. And I mean, traveling with me is interesting. Like, I'm pretty easygoing, but when I get my downloads, I'm really freaking intense. And I think if I could have imagined you looking at this message, I imagine your eyes out on stalks like, for fuck's sake, it's only 7 o'clock in the morning, woman. Will you go away?
No, I think it was earlier, but I was awake. But the fun, there was two funny things about that. The first circle we were right on top of. But then the second one, you said it's got something to do with, who was something with green in your, like a family member in your name or an ex-boyfriend or something, right?
Yeah. A friend, a guy I used to work with.
A guy.
So none of
So,
the above, but yeah.
all right. I remember you said it's the name is somehow associated with it. So when you
They
gave me the
showed me
name,
him. They showed me him, and they were like, the name is, and I was like, well, what can it be? You know. So then I looked, and it was his surname was in the place that we needed to go to, the third place.
did you send me the name, and then I sent you the circle name, and then it was confirmed, or did you already know?
I knew this. So the one after that beautiful little one with the fairies, the one after that you told me that we needed to go to, and then the one after that was the one that I had been shown by this guy.
That was where it was. Yeah, okay. Sorry, yeah, you're right.
That's
So
right.
that one we discovered this beautifully well kept stone circle, perfect condition, really nice grass with these 2 hawthorn trees, which were covered in
Wishes, fairy wishes. Oh,
fairy
it was
wishes.
so cute. Fairy wishes. Oh my gosh.
And when you came in, you made a donation. It was an honesty box, and you picked up a little label that had not plastic on it. It had that really rough cord, that old parcel string. So you wrote down your wish, and then you tied it onto the tree, and you couldn't find the space on both trees. They were chocker.
We did though, didn't we?
Yeah, I was actually thinking, get on my shoulders, Lucy.
I know, that's what I was going to suggest at one point.
Yeah, but with all the rain gear, you must have weighed about 8. You probably weighed about 300 pounds with all the rain gear you had on.
I don't think I'd ever weigh that much.
No, but the hats and jacket and woolen hats and gloves and extra layers and Wellington
and all
boots.
And all the wetness, because my feet were soaking there. Do you remember? I was like, my feet are really wet. So we had to have the Sahara in the car. Oh, we have such a crack on the road, don't we? What I loved about that, what I loved about that initial Kenmare one was we both wrote a wish down, didn't we? Separately, we both wrote it down, and I got a message as I was sealing the stone circle that David had to show people what I had written on my wish. And so I was a bit uncomfortable with this because, it's a wish. You're not supposed to tell people. Anyway, I got over myself and I said, David, you need to film this for the camera, blah, blah, blah. And he filmed it, didn't say anything. And then he showed me his, and we'd pretty much asked for exactly the same thing, hadn't we?
Yeah. And we weren't watching it. I think it's nice when you get confirmation that you're in tune as well. I think like that. It's good.
It was beautiful, really beautiful. So we finished up there because that wasn't actually one of the points that we needed to be, was it? It was just a little Brucey bonus that we went on. And then we went on to the next circle, didn't we?
Glandor.
Which was incredible.
Yeah, it's at the top of a hill just by a very nice oceanside town, seaside, village really, Glandor. I used to go out of that bay when I was a kid. Some family member had a speedboat there, and it used to be so rough. We'd have to put a mask on just to get out over the waves, and that was the summertime. Honestly, coming in over the boat, we were, fearless as kids going out there in a little boat, and. Yeah, so that was there was a couple of interesting things happened there. We read the official explanation what it was. Lucy trashed that straight away. She said, that's a load of bollocks. Not that at all. This is what this is. I
didn't say it quite like that. I'm a little bit passionate about this stuff, but
What did they say? They said it was a cooking pit, didn't they?
Oh, it's bollocks.
You see, bollocks. It's not a cooking pit. Bollocks.
No, but it was really beautiful the way it was set up, actually, and I've reflected on this one the most of all of them, because actually the setup that it was put in was actually a very, very powerful formation. If you think about it, it was actually the Trinity.
Yeah, I saw it. You could see it. Yeah. So it was actually and the figure of 8 as well inside the circles was there too, the infinity sign and the Trinity.
Yeah. So what I was told very clearly at the second spot was that I needed to bring the life back to the 2 portals at the top by using the golden infinity. And it was a very powerful exercise, that one, wasn't it? Really, really powerful. And then the energy around the actual main body of the stones was, you were blown away by the energy, weren't you?
The ancestor, the grandfather and the grandmother was very powerful. And there was no real center altar stone, which is strange because some of them have this altar stone, which you could, okay, everyone's looking towards the center, but this one didn't have a central altar stone. It had a central flagstone, which there was some small offerings of coins and flowers and trinkety things there that the Irish leave or the guests leave, which is great, and nobody touches them.
Yeah,
but there was no real center altar stone, so the energy was different. As we came in, we had to figure out, okay, this is the main entrance. We're going to come in from this side, and you could feel it. It was like, yeah, it was like being in a family circle where everybody was passing information around, the stories, the energy, the knowledge, the ancestral knowledge. It was a place of exchange, I felt, and the cooking pit story didn't stack up at all. There's no way.
Nope. Didn't work with me for one moment. Now, whilst we were at this site, David, how was the weather?
Well, I have a great shot of you from the other side of the stones where you're wrestling your umbrella and it just turns inside out. And then you haven't seen that shot yet because I say on camera,
use it against me, yeah?
It's going to be one of the outtakes. I was going to say, get your umbrella sorted out, woman, for God's sake. It's just an umbrella. Who owns it? You? Who's the boss over there? It was pulling you everywhere.
Mahoney.
I thought, apart from all of the wet rain gear, you would have gone off like Mary Poppins. That would have been it. Straight back to London, down a chimney.
But you know the funny thing, later on, the next site after we'd done that stone circle, you were really battling with your umbrella, weren't you? Do you remember? And you went, fuck it, I'm throwing it in the bin.
I threw it away, didn't I? Because all of the arms just snapped and buckled. You know, gale force winds, these tiny little umbrellas that you keep inside you know, they're about that big and then they'll unfold, you know, they're useless.
We have such a crack on the road, don't we? Honestly, imagine a third party just filming all of what we got up to. They'd be like, what the heck is with you two? Oh, it was so much fun.
40 litres of water and about 30 power bars.
Yeah, pretty much, wasn't it? It pretty much was like that over there. So we ended up doing the activation again at that second site because that was basically the information I channeled, wasn't it? In Scota, was that there was going to be 3 sites that we needed to pull together and activate and bring the light in via that way. So that was the second site we did. And then you asked me for a favour, David, didn't you?
Oh,
Another one.
Well,
I hope you guys are keeping tally of all these favours.
Another one
for this man.
You normally like my favours. Well, this particular favour, right? Okay, so before we start, we're not going to reveal. I mean, I don't know how much I can reveal, but I know I've been told I can't reveal something that happened. We both talked about it in our own little individual ways, that something massive happened, but we haven't kind of figured out how we're going to release it because it's that big.
I'm still processing it at the moment, to be fair. You know, I think David's ready to go out there with this stuff, but for me right now, and I'm just hoping that you guys will just take that into consideration with, you know, if there's any, just tell us. Something hit me very, very hard on the Sunday, and I'm still processing it right at the moment. As soon as we can, we will release it. I promise you. It's just a little bit of time required.
Yeah, I'm absolutely okay with that. Yeah, you're right with your decision. Can I talk about where it happened, though?
Can I just? I think Trevor's asked a really bloody good question. Did Mahoney find his license?
No, I still haven't. I have to go to Germany.
No, Trevor, it's a bloody good question you ask. Tell him to get it sorted because little Miss over here is driving Mr. Daisy and it should be driving Miss Daisy.
Well, I did enough of it here. I mean, the problem is it's rent-a-cars. I have a copy of it and I've got a certificate. It's just the stupid license that they need the plastic thing. But I am in a course of it. I have to go to Germany to do it. And I'm not in the mood because I'm either working here or else I'm working with you. So I have no time, Lucy.
I'm so lucky, aren't I? I'm so privileged to have you in my life.
Sticks the knife in and then takes it back. All right, Lucy, I don't know how much you want to talk about. So for fear of me upsetting the plan, you can talk about where we were and what we were doing. You choose how much you want to reveal.
You can say where we are. There's just that little snippet that I don't want us to talk about.
Right.
So basically,
okay.
You asked me to do a favour, didn't you? Because there's a story that's very dear to your heart regarding the Lusitania. And this is basically what David asked me to do. He said that there was a story very dear to his heart and that he would really like it if I could go and do a little bit of work to see, if souls needed being released or anything like that, because this story is very prevalent from your childhood, right, and growing up.
Yeah.
It really resonates.
There you go. So for those that haven't followed us, or myself for a while, where I was raised in Ireland is a town called Kinsale. And in the local graveyard, when we were kids, we were playing hide and seek, and there was unknown victims of the Lusitania, which was a liner ship that was torpedoed off the coast of where I'm from on May 1915. And approximately 1,200 people were killed in 18 minutes because the ship was loaded with illegal explosives. So when a German submarine put one torpedo into it, it exploded from the inside. And it went down so quickly, so 1,200 people never got off. So between my hometown and the next town, this is where they brought all of the bodies that they discovered. So there's about 440 bodies that were placed in a mass grave in a town that's now called Cove, which at the time was called Queenstown. So obviously after the Irish independence, they changed it to not Queenstown. So it's now called Cove. So I said, Lucy, I know that there's a lot of people there that were killed so quickly, they're confused. Would you please come with me and see if there's any souls in this mass graveyard, this mass grave inside this graveyard that you can clear? And sure enough, there was.
One of the most life-changing events of my life to date. And I've done a lot of shit, ladies and gents, so I'm going to be honest. And I didn't expect it to be the way that it was, but David literally had to console me pretty much all of Sunday. I just wasn't with it. I was crying at every opportunity, wasn't I? Like, bless him. He drew the short straw, because a lot of what we processed and a lot of what we did that day was just, it's something that's very challenging to actually put into words. And like I say, over the next week or two, we will share more details around what went on around that situation. But it was, I'm just never going to forget it. I'm never going to forget it. Like I say, I'm still processing it. David, as much as you struggled to process it at first, then you kind of like got balanced with it pretty quickly. But for me, there's an attachment there. There's something there. Whereby my roots and things like that, it's just fascinating what went on. So as much as it was a favor for David, actually it was a really beautiful, humbling experience for myself, something that I feel so grateful for being involved in. It's absolutely amazing. I'm just going to delete this person that's decided to
who's
spam
doing that?
Tinder. I don't know, I've just blocked them. Tinder and adult dating here, apparently. David, should we talk about this? No. So this, and it was a totally inappropriate moment that they said that, and they deserve to be blocked, be gone. But it was, like I say, it was one of the most powerful days. The weather was awful, wasn't it? Like, again, they did not want us doing what we were doing. They didn't want us going there, and the power that was in that graveyard. I mean, even from the second that we got there, opposite is a football club called the Wanderers. What's my nickname? The Wanderess. Like, I was like, shit, what's going on here? It was your intuition to take me there was bang on the money. Bang on the money.
I keep doing that by accident, don't you? Taking in these grapes. But let's have a look over here, and then we end up in this. But I think that's the start of something quite big, Lucy, because what we discovered, what we did, I think is something that they've sent to us to continue doing that, this particular technique, because something changed. We'll move on, because the more that we talk about it, the more I think it's going to drive people mad. Suffice to say, we'll get the information out. It's your call, Lucy, whenever you're ready.
We'll do that soon. We'll do
Yeah.
that soon.
Then after that,
Can I just say something before we move on, because we've had a couple of really funny comments. So Lizzie has
Yeah.
offered to be our driver, David.
who?
Lizzie.
No, I spent 4 hours in the car with her going down to the school, and she's full on changing gear. She's like being in a rally driver.
I did. This is why I had to ask it, because Lizzie offered to be the driver, and I just thought I'd leave that one with you because I've never been in a car with her. For some
She's a
reason,
good
you feel
driver.
safe with me, Lizzie.
She's a good driver, but more like a rally driver. It's not relaxing at all.
Yeah.
You're holding a clipboard and you're saying, second gear, drive down to four, hard right, hard right.
Oh, bless. Okay.
Then
I
said, I'm going to go to sleep. And then she kept talking to me. I
Of
just said, I
course.
want to take a nap, man. I've been up all night. All right, then I'll leave you alone, will I? Right, then I'll leave you alone.
See, with me, you get it bloody easy, don't you? I just let you be.
We don't sleep in the car. With normally too much chat and information sharing and what we're planning next and info. Yeah, back and forth. What you're feeling, where we're going to go next.
Exactly.
So
another question's just come in. Do you mind if I answer it? Gigi has put, who do you mean, Lucy, when you say they did not want us doing it? So there's always both sides to this. There is the light, and there's also the dark side. Now, the weather and certain challenges, there's always resistance, babe. So that's what I mean when I say they. I don't mean literally there's a group of people that are there going, you can't do this or you can do this. It's an energetic when I say they in that sense. So a really, really, really good question. Thank you so much for asking it. Sorry,
yeah,
love.
but no, you're right, because they'll do other things as well. Like the rain, as soon as you come in there, it was dry. And then as soon as we get to the spot, it starts hammering it with rain. Literally, we couldn't even get out of the car. We had to put our rain jackets on in the car because it was coming down that hard. But it just didn't stop us. Just didn't stop. Then the microphones packed up.
Yeah.
All the equipment started to fail.
Yeah, of course.
I still haven't gotten working. I was testing them now. They're totally knackered. So
do you want me to buy some new ones for this weekend?
If you can get them quick enough before the weekend, because I don't think I can now. But I'm gonna upgrade them, I think, to a better brand. So
cool.
I'll send you a message
anyway.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so we're off again this weekend coming, aren't we? We won't tell people where we're going until we're back home and safe. David's finally got the memo on that now. Whoop, 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 whoop.
She'll hang me.
I feel very excited. I feel very excited that he's got the memo. So just to close off what we did in Ireland then, we obviously went on to a third space. We did a beautiful, beautiful ceremony there as well. And closed that out pretty quickly. It went very, very smoothly, that last one, didn't it? It was beautiful. Although we did have a couple of disruptions brought from people that decided to come in, try and distract and stuff, didn't we?
I thought the French lady, we never talked about that, because I'm really good at picking up. First of all, it's usually the first thought that comes into my head, and usually a couple of the way that they pronounce a couple of words. So the French connection, as we say there, Lucy, I got distracted because I was filming, and I think that's quite important for the Stones and almanacs and cognac, because there's a huge amount of stones that are all placed in that part of France in cognac. And you remember the look on her face when I said to her about cognac? She kind of just went, huh, like, how did you know I was French?
Yeah.
And then she got in her car and drove off. But she was up to something up there as well. And I wasn't sure. I didn't get enough chance to absorb if it was good or bad, but she was doing something. She wasn't just a tourist.
No.
She had some sort of purpose there, I thought, or felt.
Yes, she did. I agree.
But it was this particular circle is quite a large one. There's, again, a hawthorn tree. There were some beautiful trinkets left in the fairy tree, wasn't there?
Yeah. Did you see what Lizzie's put? Did she have a string of onions around her neck?
That's how I knew.
I mean, what?
No, I said
it was beautiful, that site, wasn't it? Really beautiful.
Yeah, I said to the woman, did you enjoy that? And then 2 words. I said, oh, you're French. But she's half French, half Irish, living in Ireland. And when I mentioned cognac, she went, like we knew something. Anyway, the trinkets in the tree, Lucy.
Oh, beautiful, weren't they? There were so many beautiful things. There was coins, there was crystals, there was beautiful little notes left in a little box, wasn't there, for the
It was a
fairies?
fairy tin box saying, leave your wishes for the fairies in the fairy box.
Yeah, it was so beautiful. Like, it was so just the whole setup and the whole activation of that energy around the southern part of Ireland was so bloody powerful, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
as we were walking back down to the car, we were talking about how profound the energy shifts had been within ourselves as well. Like, we really felt it coming online as we did that last exercise to connect all of the dots and then bring the light up through. It was very powerful. I love doing this work. I love it. Love it. Honestly, I'm bloody exhausted by the time I get home because I'm always the fucking driver. But excuse me, I've sworn so much today and I don't know where it's coming from. Some passion is coming through me. But no, it's always knackering. The weekend is always tiring, isn't it? You know, lots of driving, lots of focusing, lots of good weather, bad weather, you know, focusing, allowing things to channel through. But my goodness, isn't it rewarding?
Yeah, you never, well, I try to always make a mental note of it. I've got this internal time traveling trick I do, which I learned from all the flying, which is kind of hard to, what I do is I get on a long flight and I imagine myself at a point where I say, okay, like getting in my car at the airport from the long-term parking and just going, it's only 45 minutes to home. When you've had a 2.5, 3.5 hour flight on Ryanair with your knees up by your ears, you know? Some kids behind
I'm
you.
surprised you can fit in the blooming seats, mate.
Well, I was sat next to 2 vaccinated Irish people saying, "Oh Jesus, we wouldn't be doing that at all if we weren't vaccinated. I think he's on number 4, and I'm going for mine next week, number 4. When I get home, I'll have number 4." So I'm sitting there and think, okay, great. And they asked me about it. I say, no, never did. Never did. Spreading it everywhere.
Interesting.
But the looking back at what you do after you've done it, I always make a mental note. It's a bit like eating the last chocolate in the pack. You've got to have a bit of a special moment with the last one. But when I leave one of these sacred sites, I just take a moment and I go, and just suck up that last little bit of that special atmosphere. Now, when I left Scota's grave for the first time, as I was walking back on that route, that's when my activation started happening. I was like, oh, I could feel it. And it was kind of making me want to go back. And then I had to go continue because there was 3 of us. But I knew I'd be coming back, and I knew it'd be pretty soon as well, actually, on that one.
Yeah, it wasn't long. We got back and again had magical shifts. And we've had some other validation to show that what we did worked as well, right?
Yeah. And then there was the haunted hotel that we booked in the last night.
Oh my gosh, it was blooming intense, wasn't it? It was so funny. It was so funny.
We're driving down this driveway. I said, "Oh, this looks like a nice place." I said, "We've had 2 pretty good hotels." I said, "Come on, Lucy, look at this. It's a good deal. It's a was it a 4 star?" I said, "Look, it's
It was
cheap."
beautiful though. It was beautiful.
I said, "It's a classic converted. Originally, what do they call it? A great big mansion house, an estate." House converted into a hotel. I said, look at that. I said, I guarantee there'll be some energy in there. So as we pulled in down the driveway,
done enough work, ladies and gents. I hadn't done enough. He wanted more. Come on,
we
woman.
pull up at dusk. We pull up at dusk, and all of a sudden, there's literally thousands of crows flying around the rooftop.
Thousands.
And it's got a great big bell tower, and it looked like something straight out of a Hitchcock film, all flying above us, going and thousands of them. I said, holy, I mean, that's not a sign straight away, but we had the crows follow us a lot, actually, through the whole trip. Yeah. So I said, what do you think of this place? She says, oh, there's going to be a lot of action in here tonight. And, spiritual action, not the other kind.
You don't help situations sometimes, David.
There's a good question. Is your work in Ireland now complete, from Mary?
For right this second, yes, but I do feel that we'll be back. There's a number of other things that we've got to go and do over the coming months. But I really wouldn't be surprised if we're back doing some finishing touches I've already
Yeah.
mentioned to David a couple of places, haven't I?
Yeah. I know. Some of them
So-
I've been to as well, and you're right. So we get into the hotel, and I asked the staff member, "What's the story here?" And I'll try to do a better accent now for this. I don't know if it's a male or female for Bennett, D. Bennett. And it was a door behind the counter, like. I said, "So what's the story with this place?" "Ah, geez, it's a really good story about this now. This place was originally like a great big mansion house. And then they converted it to a convent. It was full of nuns. And then at the end of it, when the nuns all died off, they wanted to turn it into a women's prison, female prison. But the locals said, fuck that, like, we're not having a load of criminals here." So then they turned it into a hotel. So we're like, So we check in and off we go. And we're both looking at each other. I said, "All right, well, look, I'll see you downstairs in an hour and a half for dinner." So, and actually, we always get rooms. They seem to just give it right next door to us or across, literally, in case Lucy, anything in the middle of the night happens, and I can go in there and save her.
Like a hero. He's my hero.
It'd probably be the other way around, saying, "Lucy, there's a load of strange shit in here. Come and sort it out." But get rid of that again, whoever this Tinder guy is.
I'm blocking them. I blocked them. Cheeky bugger.
So tell them about the first thing that happened in your room.
So I went in the shower, had a beautiful shower. Everything was absolutely fine. Went into my room, dried my hair, and I was just doing a little bit of work. And then next thing I know, the shower comes on full pelt. Not just a little trickle, like sometimes it does after it's been used. So, I hadn't been in there for about, 15 minutes or so. So I walked in and the shower's going full pelt. And I was like, "Okay, you lot, you want to play this game tonight, do you? Right. Just know I can deal with you. So you either need to stop this right away." And anyway, the shower went off. And I said to David as soon as I saw him, "Oh dear, we're in for a funny one tonight." And then it started, didn't it?
Yeah, and weirdly enough, we literally both opened the doors and just arrived in the corridor at the same time. Like, we were both either a little bit early or a little bit late, but that was quite funny. I thought that's happened a few times in sync, Then we go downstairs. Then we recorded the live, if I remember, which we put out the next day. Then we had some dinner, and Lucy says, "Okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom." So I'm sitting at the table. She comes back. I said, because we had all the computer equipment on the table, you see, the laptop and mics from the recording. I said, "All right, I'm going to pop there now." And I said, "What are you laughing at?" She said, "Nothing." I said, "No, go on, tell me. What are you laughing at?" She says, Nothing. I'll tell you when you get back." So I said, "Okay." So
stitch up.
Proper stitch up. So my psychic abilities, as far as feeling any spirits, or let's call them ghosts or spirits, the hairs of my arms go up. So if it's a light one, I get a mild. Okay. If it's a heavy one, I get all of them. If it's a very heavy one, I get both arms and all like the hairs on my neck going up. So I go down this one side of the sweeping staircase. Bear in mind, it used to be a stately home. So I go down, and there's the bathrooms are put down there because there's a conference room down there. So I go down there. As soon as I got to the bottom of the stairs, I went, "Yeah!" I must have walked right through whatever Lucy had walked through a few minutes before. And all the hairs on my arms are going on. I'm like, fuck. And then I go into the gents. Of course, the automatic light's not going on. So I'm doing the Irish river dance, trying to get the thing going on. The electric motion sensor light. Get that light on, because all my arms are still sticking up, So go to the bathroom, come out. And then I say, "Okay, take a breath. You weren't expecting that, but it's happened before. You know about this." So I started snooping around at where it was, but it was literally just in that area. I went to the right, moved all around. The energy died off. And when I went straight back into it, it came up again. So now I go back upstairs, trying to look serious. And she says, "What happened to you?" I said, "Why would you not tell me that? It's like walking me down in the middle of an energy slap."
I got to keep you on your toes, Mahoney. We got our balance.
I was like a cat.
He was like, "What the heck just went on? We need to go ghost hunting." And I was like, in between, one minute I'd be really emotional, and the next minute I'd just be all over the place, wouldn't I? It's so funny. We had such a crack. It was a really, really, really good crack in Ireland. But we got it done, didn't we? We got it done. I think you're evolving in such a beautiful way, David. I really, really do. I'm so proud of you.
Well, it's
And
your help,
I know you
Lucy.
don't like this.
No, thank you very much. I'll take that, because every time I'm doing it, the questions that I'm getting answered for myself are helping me understand this. And because I've been into this for a long time, all my life, really. It's just now when you get this sense of the wisdom that comes with a bit of age and experience, but the stuff that we're doing, I can definitely see a difference and certainly feel it. And the desire for more of this knowledge is what's driving me now. And I'm canceling some other interviews and stuff, so I've got more time to do more investigation and self-awareness and self-learning and self-growth with your help. Thank you very much.
Self-mastery. So Mr. Mahoney is working through self-mastery in readiness for him to be present at Soul School, aren't you, sweetheart?
Yeah. I think that's, I didn't realize that I mentioned it and you were, saying, listen, I was really unprepared for that, because it's a shame to waste so much wisdom when you haven't got the notes to understand what the next lesson is going to be in layman's terms. And I was kind of upset at myself, saying, you should have done it, and why you've missed it. So I don't want to make that mistake again, because I know from what you've been telling me about Soul School, it's going to be 50 times more powerful this time. I've seen the location, guys. And I was like, no way. No, you haven't. And she said, oh, I have. I was like, oh, my God. So that even pushed me further, by the way, Lucy. When I saw that location, I thought, I cannot not be there. So
just to let you guys know, I'm tough, aren't I, David? I'm tough. And it doesn't matter. Like David and I have an incredible relationship. But just because we have an incredible relationship, it doesn't mean that David's not going to get pushed in the way that I would push other people. Like, for you guys to come to Soul School, like, this is a big level up process. And Denise in the chat has put, you wait till you get to the emotional trauma, for fuck's sake. So Denise sent me a beautiful little message saying, oh, I'm flying through this and it's going really well. And then boom, it hit her when we got to the emotional trauma section, and all of a sudden she started recognizing, and I love it. She's going on such a beautiful process right now. But this is why it's so important to get your butt sorted and get in alignment with this now, because you've got 3 months of support from yours truly before we get to the event. The event is going to change your life without any shadow of a doubt. The pre-work beforehand, which David will do as well, because it's very important, but he's going through the 8-week program first as a priority. This is very, very, very important for your physical body to be ready and your soul to be ready for what is going to happen. You are going to get put on a bloody rocket launcher at that event with all of the incredible speakers that we've got and the amazing location that we've got and all of that good stuff. And it's very, very important that you start now. And this is why David is investing in himself, because I said to him, unless you get into alignment with this, like, you can't come. Didn't I?
And I think it's fair enough, Lucy. I wasn't upset. And I actually respect that, because I do not want to occupy one of those valid seats if I haven't graduated or if I don't deserve it at that time. It's unfair, because there's many more people out there that have a lot more advanced knowledge than I do. I'm just lucky to be in the right place at the right time, especially with our work that we're doing. Yeah, so exactly. It would be unfair for me to occupy that space, and I wouldn't be comfortable doing it unless I was, ready for it.
So I'm going to say something to people. There's a couple of things that are you all right for a few more minutes?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So Soul School is like running a marathon. You can't do all of your training the week before you turn up to Soul School. Like, this is a proper preparation. This is a marathon for your soul that we are taking on right now. So please do remember that it's a very, very important process. And I don't do this out of ego. I don't do this out of anything other than purely the feedback that we got given off the last one was, bloody hell, I wasn't ready for that. So we've prepped and we've made sure that you guys are covered this time, so you are ready for it, so you can get the shifts. The second thing, and this is news spanking hot off the press, literally the meeting before here, David was like, do you want to give me the link? And I was in a meeting talking exactly about this. On Thursday of this week, I'm going to get emotional. Oh, I feel so proud of this. On Thursday of this week, on my website, so that's www.lucydavis.com/soul school, there will be a scholarship process whereby people who cannot afford to come to Soul School can basically apply for a scholarship place. Now, yes. So there will be full scholarships, there will be part scholarships, and there are also a couple of people that have reached out to me and said, I would like to pay a place forwards for somebody who can't afford it. So it's beautiful what's happening, because, you know, it's just beautiful what's happening. I've basically said there's going to be a certain number of places that I'm going to give. And then a couple of people have come to me and said, I don't want to be recognised for this, but I'm going to work on them about that. But there's basically going to be a number of spaces that we're going to offer to help people, whether they can afford it fully or whether they can only contribute a little bit, or whether they just need it for free, because I do not believe in division. So anybody that can get to Manchester for the 4th and 5th of February, they will get all of the pre-work. What's included is the event and the whole of that that course. I'm not going to put them up in hotels and stuff like that. That's down to them. So whether they can share or whatever, you know, there's a group on Facebook that we've got whereby people can like hook up in a room and stuff like that. But that's the only stipulations that we've got. So maybe they live in Manchester, maybe they live locally enough so that they can drive, or whatever works for them. But we want to basically give something back. Soul School is all about contribution. So I'm giving a decent number of places. And like I say, these 2 people have reached out, and Danielle has just said she would like to do it as well. So that's another space that we've just got by me doing this. Guys, this is what we came here for, to come together, to remind our soul what we're here to do, shift consciousness, but also come together on different avenues so that we can actually make this shift happen. So this is news spanking hot off the press. It's going to be available on my website on Thursday morning. And I thought I'd share it with my favorite human, or one of my favorite humans, first.
Well, it looks like you've got, what, about 3 or 4 people offered spaces right now? Let's be interesting. It ends up being 22, wouldn't it?
Well, there's a good number already. I'll tell you the number already, because I'll tell you the number that I'm contributing as well when we get off.
Well, so I think you can add one more, Lucy, because I'll definitely join that program. I'll sponsor a seat.
Beautiful. Thank you.
But I want one right at the very back near the bar.
No bar, David.
I know. I'll do that, Lucy. I think that's such a great cause. Absolutely. Yeah. You can count on me for one seat as well.
This process is something that I've been speaking about in the background to my team, but I haven't been at a point yet whereby I've been able to commit to it, because we didn't know the process. But we've got the process. Technologically, it's happening tomorrow. Hopefully it will be ready for Thursday, definitely. So ladies and gents, if you cannot afford, please, if you can afford it, please don't be an arsehole. You know, you don't belong at Soul School. If you can afford it and you want a free space just because it saves you paying for it, please allow the people to come along that really, really cannot afford to do this, or, you know, their circumstances just do not provide for it. Please, let's allow these people to really get the support that we can offer them. I'm bloody excited by it, David.
The divine will guide them to us. I believe that. So I'm smiling now to see who turns up. It'd be quite interesting. I bet there's going to be some cracking people there. Maybe this guy. How does he keep doing that?
I don't know. Maybe it must be a little time out or something like that. But that person, I'm going to find them afterwards. Tinder hot XY. Maybe they're giving us a. You guys, you know, you need to get out there. Get on Tinder. I'd never go on Tinder.
I'm not going on that. I've barely have enough time to make an egg sandwich. Lucy, that's great. I'm very excited for that. That's a good one. I'm sure you'll tell me more about that this weekend.
I will do. But thank you for your offer of contribution, David. I really appreciate that. That's really beautiful.
You know, anything I can do to help with that, you know. You don't have to ask twice.
Well,
just tell me what you need.
We just need to speak about it a lot more. I'm not very good at speaking about Soul School, like stuff like that. I need to speak about it more. So if you can speak about it too.
You want to make like a special kung fu video promoting it?
I think so, yeah. I think so. Who's excited to see David shift so much that he's going to be one of the speakers at Soul School?
Well, I'll have to put my own hand up, won't I? See who I end up being there.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Even if we do divine activation adventures, it wouldn't be the same without you there, David. So please buckle up, mate.
I will. The only, like I said, I've said this to you, and I think I said this live. The only issue I have is I'm involved in so much of this 3D stuff, and it helps so many people that it's a difficult mix.
You can straddle. You can straddle.
I've got a split personality anyway, so I can do it. There's like 900 people living in my head.
Haven't we all noticed, ladies and gents? Right. I will see you in a few days' time.
A few days, yeah. And I'll see you guys next week.
Good to speak with you. And we will be back on Halloween.
Yeah, whatever we do, if we're together on Monday, if we're not together on Monday, we've made a sacred oath that we'll always record something, so you still have this.
So if for any reason Raj is flying on Monday, we would have filmed something over the weekend that will go out in its place. So whatever happens, check it out Monday 5 o'clock on YouTube, Facebook. You are fired. Right, gorgeous. Right, I will see you later on in the week.
Thank you, Lucy. Bye, everybody.
Everyone.
Nice
Love you all.
To you
Take
all.
care.
See you
ciao,
soon.
ciao. Bye, everyone. Bye.